Hello everyone. Welcome to the part 2 of the recap of American Cup 2023. If you haven't checked the part 1 of the recap already, then I'm giving it the link to that video in the description box below. You can check it out. Um, so yeah, in this video I'm going to show a game between um, sorry between Nakamura and uh, Dominguez Perez Leinier. Yeah, so Dominguez is one of the top players in the world of chess right now, and also I think he's top 15, and he is also a very strong theoretician. So Dominguez starts with e4, Hikaru plays c5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, c4, knight d4, and Hikaru plays e5. So Hikaru is trying to go for either, well, most probably the Kalashnikov, but also there can be other lines which like the Lowenthal variation, or, and also I don't know the name of the another variation, but yeah, these are quite almost dubious in top level chess, I would say. But Hikaru takes up the challenge. He's um, very he has very strong nerves, and he's playing on somewhat like wars openings at the top level. Well, wars openings means related to the top level of chess, yeah, like the King's Indian Defense or the Kalashnikov, and maybe the Park, the Two Knights Tango, yeah. So like, usually, if you are playing the Sicilian at the very elite level, um, the only top guests are either the National of Sicilian, which is the specialty of Maxim Vasil-Legrev, or you're playing the Sveshnikov Sicilian, which is the specialty of Carlsen, Rachapov, um, even sometimes Caruana is playing it, but you don't really see the Kalashnikov Sicilian. But anyways, let's see how the game continues. Knight b5, d6, knight c3, a6, knight a3, and here Hikaru plays bishop e6, which is a very interesting move. The main move is I think e5, and the second main move is bishop e7, but he opts for bishop e6. Okay, and now Dominguez plays knight c4 and b8. Well, black is not developing very fast, but when you are a beginner, you should develop your pieces very quickly towards the center. But yeah, Hikaru knows chess better than all, and I hope no. I don't think Carson is seeing our videos, but yeah, he knows what he's doing, right? But anyways, and here Dominguez makes a bit suspicious move. I'm not so sure. Maybe he has done his homework very well in plus 95. But when I was seeing this position, my first thought was why not 93? Because I want to place a knight on d5. Because after 95, bishop d5, white is not able to recapture on d5 with the piece. Because if you place 25, then just knight f6, 23, and now knight b4 is coming, or even d5, which is a freeing freeing move, and it is the dream of any Kalashnikov player. So after queen for d5, black is getting huge initiative against white's exposed king, and the position is very dangerous for white. After ed5, okay, let's see what white would have played instead of 95. a4 is also a very logical move, stopping b5 by black, and the a4 square because b4 square, the a4 moves as a b4 square, so knight b4 threatens 5 in the future maybe. but not right now because the pawn is weak. So after 95, and here, well, if 95, e5, bishop 5, then e5 is coming, and the b6 square is very big. The bishop can come up to here. Many things are there. But after bishop d5, bd5, and knight f6, g3, 95, bishop g2, white is getting a huge initiative because black's pieces are not very well developed. This d6 pawn is weak, and white has a long bishop advantage. And well, he has his pawn down, but it doesn't matter here because, well, if you're going to checkmate black, who cares about pawns? So after rook b8, the engine says that bishop e2 is the best move, surprisingly. The point is that knight d4, white can play bishop d3. So the engine is trying to tell that it seems that white has lost a tempo by coming first bishop e2 and then bishop d3, whereas he could have done it directly because bishop d3, I think. But here bishop d3, knight b4 is coming, and I can take bishop d3 next one. But the engine is trying to tell that after knight d4, bishop d3, it is black who has lost a tempo because the knight on d4 is not doing such great work, even though visually it looks excellent. A centrally placed knight is just a dream of any chess player. Well, that's what you should be aiming for as a beginner. But when it comes to this elite levels, it's just very complex. General principles do not usually work every single time at such levels. Yeah. So engine says that white can play around this d4 knight, and white is slightly better. Well, it is also seen in some kind of Sveshnikov and also in the Kalashnikov Sicilian when black is playing around this d5 knight, trying to play bishop 7, bishop 5, and sometimes trying to exchange the knight over there. But yeah, I think after bishop d3, knight f6 castle, the d4 knight is stuck, and well, the game is still open for story results, I think. But yeah, I think with these, white is slightly more comfortable. So after 95, bishop d5, e5, 97. I think a4 is the Stockfish's main choice, and I think it should have been played. Stopping b5, knight f6, and now g4 is coming. Well, it is very, very tough to play moves like g4, voluntarily weakening the king side, white's king side, and it is very hard to play if it is not your home preparation. Yeah. But logically speaking, I think white is trying to open up the position. White has advantage on the has a space advantage in the center, and black's pieces are not so well developed. Yeah. So white is trying to push his pawns to restrict further black's development. So after g3 was played, b5, 93, g6, trying to bring the bishop to either g7 or h6. So after a4, knight f6, c4 is a very okay. Sorry if I had already shown you this, but yeah, this is a diagram I think which you can think for, let's say, 4-5 minutes. And here there is a very strong move c4, and it is quite human, I think, and I am pretty sure I would have found it at least. I don't know if Dominguez saw something deeper, and maybe he saw something better in AB5, and maybe he calculated something wrong. I'm not so sure, but yeah, c4 looks very good move because white is trying to expose the a6 pawn weakness, because a6 is the base of black's pawn chain, a6 and b5. So this weakening of this a6 pawn should be a very good decision. Yeah, so like b4 c5 is coming, and this is like completely losing for like black is just strategically busted here. So black has to take bishop takes c4, and after bishop c4, black is going to have an eternal weakness on a6, and white can play something like castles, and then develop is somehow like rook b1 b4, bishop b2 b4, and just create a pass pawn over on the queen side, play queen 2 maybe, let's say rook d1, and then just take the a6 pawn, and it's clearly slightly better for white. But ab5 is a very wrong decision, I think. After ab5, bishop g2, bishop h6, castles, queen d3. The queen d2 might have been more accurate, but even queen d3 is objectively of equal value as the engine tells. And here, in this position, there is another diagram which is, I think, a bit more easier. You can think for 1.5 minutes. Here, black is playing knight d7, maneuvering his knight to a better square on c5, right? And after b4, f5 is coming, and this position is very unclear. You know, black has some initiative on the king side, but his queen side pawns are quite weak. And yeah, this d6 pawn is also weak. White can play something like c4 takes, and I don't know. But first of all, black can take over e3. So I'm not sure what this position is. It is looking very unclear. So after bishop d2, knight c5, queen 2, and c7, b4, knight c7, rook f5. I think here knight c6, knight c4 might be coming after, let's say, even taking on e3. Rook f5 and bishop e3 is a nice move. And after bishop e3, knight f5, rook 7, 7 takes, bishop d2. Otherwise, black is just going to take on e3 and get a good knight versus bad bishop position. And also, in general, queen plus knight is better than queen and bishop. So white is trying to retain his double bishops. But yeah, the position is objectively equal, but I think it is slightly more comfortable for black. So after rook 8, white black is getting control over the a1 a file. So now we are seeing the drawback of the move a takes b5. You know, it seems here that white is getting control over the a file, but actually it is, after a few moves, it's black who is getting the control over the a file. And after queen d3, rook a2, black is penetrating to the 7th rank. The engine says g4 is a nice move, but after knight d4, c3, c2, it's very unclear and very, I don't know how to assess this position. I think it's roughly equal with chances for both sides, I think. So after rook d1 was played in the game, knight f6, bishop g5, king g7, bishop h3, now knight d4 is coming, c3, knight c2, queen f3, and g8, all very logical moves. And after bishop f1, rook a3, bishop c1, rook b3. Here, Dominguez makes quite a huge mistake. He played queen e4, but queen d3 was a better move. And I think there was already mutual time travel here, and it's very difficult to play in such situations, such risky moves. I believe he had missed knight into b4, queen d2. Yes, and after knight s6, white has queen c2, knight c5, and bishop e3. And this rook is in grave danger. So after b4, I think after rook a3, just something like rook b8 is happening, and this b5 pawn is falling. So white has to play b4, cb4, queen, rook into b4, bishop c5, dc5, and d6, and it is now white who has the initiative due to the dangerous D pass pawn. But I understand it's very difficult to um, see these in advance when you are having time pressure, especially. Yeah, so this is a very difficult position to play as black, I would say. But the engine tells that black it should be holdable for black. I don't know. So queen e4 was a big mistake, I think. After rook c3, pawn is going for free, and after bishop b2, there is an intermediate move, knight f6, and queen e2, rook c8 is coming, and queen h4 is a very bad mistake. Here, the best move is rook f3, but okay, rook b3 is also enough, I think. But rook f3, bishop f4, h5 is this, and the position of the queen is very, very odd. Yeah. Rook b3, bishop c1, knight g8, protecting against any threats of bishop h6 check or queen h6 check. And the knight in defense is a very brilliant piece. Okay. Queen d8, queen e7, queen f5, d4, bishop e3, knight f3 check, king h2, queen f6, bishop e2, e4, queen b5, and here Hikaru plays queen b2. He misses the strong move, rook into e3, and it's okay. I understand it's not so easy decision to take, but I think it's quite simple. F3, knight 6, queen c4, knight g4 is coming, and now these squares are terribly weak, and even something like knight 5 is a threat, I think. And after queen into e4, black has a fascinating vein. Actually, try to find it out, I would say. Yeah. Think for around 3 or 4 minutes, calculate the variations accurately, and try to find out the win for black. He has a checkmate in around 5 moves. Yeah, 91 takes queen f2, king h3, queen into h2, king g4, queen h4, king f4, and g5, king f5, queen g6, and the queen is falling. Boom. So the king g4, queen to e4, black is just completely winning. Yeah. So Hikaru misses rook into e3 here, queen b2 is played, and it gives away most of the of black's advantage. But yeah, there is a nice move for white. Try to find it out. Maybe I should reverse the board. I should flip the board so that it can be useful for you. So yeah, the move is bishop f4. So bishop f4, knight d4, rook d4, queen d4, bishop d6. Black has queen b8 or queen e8, and then bishop e5 check, because the dark squares around black's camp are very weak. Yeah, so after queen b2, but bishop f4, I think it's a very it's quite difficult to see during mutual time pressure, but okay. So queen b2, queen a6 is coming. It was played in the game, and after knight f6, h3, queen h5, sorry, yeah, h5, king f1, queen e5, king g2. Black white is getting no useful moves to play, and here is a diagram you can think for 3 to 4 minutes. We have already seen the theme before, so yeah. So Hikaru pounces upon Dominguez with rook into e3 over here. After f3, h4, bishop into f3, if bishop into f3, queen g3, this king 1, and now the winning move is queen to e3, queen e2, and queen h3, and white has way too many pawns for the exchange, and it's just completely easily winning. Yeah. After h4, Dominguez plays g into h4, clearly a sign of desperation, and after queen h2, he resigns because king f1, queen g1 is checkmate. So what can we learn from this game? we should not try to exchange opponent's weaknesses voluntarily. If it is a static weakness, we should try to put pressure and take it in the long term. So like over here, we saw that Dominguez playing A into B5, but this A6 pawn is a weakness on this file and also on this diagonal. So we should try to preserve this A6 weakness rather than exchanging with A into B5, because now there are no weaknesses on the A file. So yeah, C4 would have been better here, of course. And then the second conclusion is, playing in defense, we should try to change the natural course of the game by complicating matters so that it is harder for your opponent to win. So here we saw this, this exchange sacrifice over here. Queen b2, and here bishop f4 was a nice move. Playing in defense, we should try to look for counter-attacking chances and try to complicate matters, because when you're losing, it is, well, winning a one position is more difficult. So when you're losing, your opponent is on a difficult situation because he's he's winning and he has more mental pressure, so to say. So after bishop f4, knight d4, rook d4, queen d4, bishop into d6, and black is getting enough compensation and counterplay for the lost exchange. So, and the third conclusion is, position of the queen in the middle game should be safe and flexible. But we saw the Dominguez here is playing like so many moves with the queen, he's moving around with his queen everywhere, queen h4, and so you should not move your queen many times. And like, what is the queen doing on a5? Your king is getting checkmated on the king side, and your queen is taking a vacation on the queen side. But of course, I understand this huge time pressure, and this very hard to these general principles are usually very hard to apply in practice, but this should aid us in our what to say, in our thinking process. So like queen s6, the queen is doing nothing over it. Like the queen came from here to d3 to e2, and then it came to e3 here. Just what was it doing, like here, and then it came to here, and it was running all around like so many times. We lost with the queen moves only. So a nice round by Hikaru Nakamura. He had won the first and the second rounds without going into the tie breaks, and he was in an excellent form, especially after his Twitch career or his streaming career got boosted. He is playing like incredible chess nowadays. Well, this was part one of the American Cup 2023 recap. I would be coming soon with the part 2, where we'll be seeing the finals between Hikaru Nakamura and Wesley So. Till then, bye-bye. See you. Cheers.